It's no secret that mentorship has completely changed my life and business. But how do you actually know if you are ready for a mentor, and how do you choose the right one for you? Well, today I'm breaking down everything I've learned from hiring the right and the wrong mentors for me over the years, and my best advice for finding the right fit for you. Welcome back to the show. I am talking about one of my favorite topics today, mentorship. If you have been around me for any length of time, you know I talk about this a lot. And it's honestly one of the main values of the Powerhouse Women community. As you know, we say you're not meant to do business or life alone. And one of the things that I believe really sets you up for success in your business is a mentor. Now, don't get me wrong, and don't tune out if you're like, well, I'm not there yet, I'm not ready for a mentor. It doesn't always have to look like a formal mentoring relationship that you might have seen or, looked into for yourself. My first mentors, honestly, were podcasts and books and free resources. There's so much on YouTube. There is so much free content available. I really want you to acknowledge yourself. I mean, hello, if you're listening to this podcast, something tells me you listen to podcasts. You actually are seeking out mentorship, and you may not even realize it yet. But there really is a point, for me there was at least, when the breakthrough I wanted to achieve did require me to invest and put something on the line. I'm not saying this is the right next step for everyone, but if you are in a position where you've kind of been considering it, and I think this is where it starts. You just start to feel like, man, maybe having a little mentorship could help me get further faster. Maybe there's a breakthrough I need to experience, and being in a mastermind or having the guidance of someone who's going to really challenge me to think bigger might help me get there and see opportunities I wasn't seeing. Maybe you are in that place right now where you've been considering it. And so I want to just break down everything I've learned. I'll just be really honest about some of the hangups that I've had, some of the decisions that maybe didn't turn out in the way that I had hoped as far as hiring a mentor, and what I've learned along the way. Honestly, I can say even the mentoring relationships where it wasn't exactly what I had hoped, I wouldn't change a thing. And so I'll share with you just some of the things that I've gained from having a mentor or being a part of a mastermind. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about like hiring an actual mentor, someone that I invested in. I invested in myself and in my business to have another perspective and help me get to my goals and stretch even further beyond the goals that I was aiming for. So if you're in this position, I really want you to think carefully through some of these questions and just these perspectives that I'm going to give you. And I really hope that it serves you and helps you decide, number one, whether or not you're ready and at that point right now. And number two, helps you to evaluate and find the right fit for you and your business in this season. So first of all, just a few of the things that I have gained from having mentorship. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying it's kind of ironic that the motto of Powerhouse Women has become, we are not meant to do this alone, or you're not meant to do business or life alone. Because truthfully, I, for much of my life, have been the girl who's like, oh, I can figure this out. I can do this by myself. Anyone else, like when you were working on group projects in college, you were maybe that person who's like, oh, I'll do it. Like, I want it done my way, so I'm just going to take ownership. And I think that is actually a really positive skill to like be willing to take ownership. However, if we're not willing to welcome in outside perspectives and even like welcome in someone to challenge us at times, I think our growth is ultimately going to be a little bit limited because we're only evaluating things based on our current view right now, our current habits and mindset. And so one of the biggest things that I have gained from having a mentor is having access to strategies that I could not see before, or strategies that I wasn't considering. So it's like having an outside perspective on my business from someone who has been successful in the things that I want to do. So they've been there, they've done that, they've got the t-shirt, right? So they can tell me what to look out for, or maybe I can learn from some mistakes that they've made. And ultimately that has really helped me to, I think, speed up a lot of my growth. It has helped me for sure to avoid certain pitfalls, and it's really given me a sounding board to run big decisions in my business past. And that's been invaluable. Another thing is it's really stretched me to think bigger. I think I recorded a podcast at the beginning of this year, if I remember correctly. It was based on this one conversation that I had with my mentor, where we literally took my income goal for the year, and this was an income goal that I thought was a stretch goal, and we doubled it. And it was interesting, when I look at what I think is a stretch goal for me, but then I have someone else who knows my potential, who knows my skills, tell me, okay, Linz, I think you can stretch bigger. What if you did this, this, and this? And all of a sudden it was like blinders came off, and I saw other pathways. I saw that, okay, if I set the bar higher, yes, I have to show up differently, or maybe I have to readjust some things, but holy crap, I could really do that. So having a mentor has stretched me to think a lot bigger, especially in my business. It has also given me access to relationships that I wouldn't have otherwise, which has definitely speeded up my growth and my success overall. This has come a lot through being a part of masterminds. So a mastermind is essentially like a group mentoring format where there's typically one person leading it, but then you're going through the course or the year-long program with a group of other entrepreneurs who are either similar in where they're at in business, or maybe they're a lot further along, and you can learn just as much through the people going through that experience with you. The other thing that I've really noticed I've gained from having mentorship, this happened before I ever had a single call or a single meeting with these mentors. Something switched mentally the moment that I invested financially in myself, and it changed the relationship that I had to my business. I can't really explain it, but it literally had me show up differently. It was like I had so much on the line that it made me think more creatively. It made me think in terms of, okay, how am I going to achieve X, Y, or Z? Instead of, gosh, can I do that? I don't know. And I can't, like I said, I can't explain it. I don't think you can really experience what this feels like until you're there. But I want to preface this with saying, I don't believe at all in overextending yourself financially to hire a mentor. I believe in doing any business investments the smart way and never investing from a place of desperation. We're going to get to this on the second part, but I definitely have always made very careful decisions in investing in myself, but I also believe that amount should stretch me if I'm really going to grow. And then the last part, in just kind of tying off that piece about investing in myself and how that made me show up differently in my business, every single time. And there were times when I wasn't sure that I was actually getting the value out of it. Every single time, I have gotten an exponential return on what I invested. However, and this is a big but, B-U-T, I go in expecting to take 100% all on me responsibility for creating a return on that investment. And this is going to kind of now go into the second part that I wanted to talk about, which is I want to set you up for how to powerfully go into a mentoring relationship and how to really choose the right mentor for you, or even know if you're ready for that in the first place. And I think the first thing to really check in on is, are you expecting that a mentor, or maybe you're thinking of a specific person, are you expecting that they're going to have some trade secret that they're not sharing anywhere else, and the moment you become their client, now they're going to have the key to growing your business and you're going to be happily ever after? Because that's not the case. I will tell you, I remember just being completely transparent, showing up to my very first ever mastermind, the very first ever weekend retreat of that mastermind. And if I'm being honest, I walked in thinking, okay, I gave you my money. Now you should just impress me, right? Tell me what I need to do. Like, you better show me why this was a good investment. And I realized really quickly that that was the wrong mindset to have. I realized really quickly that the only way I was going to extract value out of this experience, not because it wasn't a valuable experience, but that there were no secrets, right? I mean, yes, there were people who had great strategies and things that I could try on, but it's not like there's any huge secret to how to grow a business. I had to grow myself into the person who could then grow my business. And that was on me. So the first thing you want to do before you ever hire a mentor is you have to check your expectations. I hear a lot of people share or be in the phase of considering a mentor and say things like, well, I'm just afraid of investing in the wrong person. I'm afraid of, spending this money and then not getting the value back. And I get it. I totally understand that feeling. And my advice would be, never invest from a place of fear. Don't invest unless you're going in saying, even if that, whatever it is, $5,000, $10,000, even if I never see a cent of that again, I get nothing back, I am committed to making sure I extract $10,000 worth of value, either in relationships, in contacts gained, in strategies learned. That's on me to extract that value from this experience. It is no one else's responsibility. And I think when you go in with that mindset into any mentorship relationship, you realize it changes your perception. You realize that you're investing this money in you. You're investing in you. You're not investing your money in this other person, this mentor, right? They're going to give you their best. And, if you do your homework and find someone that you really resonate with their content, I hope that they're giving you their best. Most of the mentors and mastermind programs that I'm aware of absolutely do. But the moment that you switch your mind into, well, let's see what this person can do for me. They better have something in order for me to grow my business. Like, they better impress me. That's the moment when you're going to start slipping into a feeling like, well, maybe this wasn't the right investment. And anytime we put responsibility for our life or business in someone else's hands, it's a losing game. Because at the end of the day, you are the only person who can change your business. So you don't want to go in with that fear mindset. Go in, and I always tell people this, if I get on a call with them and they're looking for a mentor, or they're looking to join our mastermind, I tell them, I don't want you to join if you're hesitant. I want you to join from a place of saying, hell yes, my business deserves this. I deserve this. I'm not coming from a place of fear or FOMO, like you're just joining because it's like the thing everyone else is doing. You want to join a mentoring relationship from a place of power, from saying, I am ready. My business is ready. I'm investing this money. It's not something that overextends me financially and puts me in fear. A great practice and something I love to do, something I have people that I mentor do, is set aside a little percentage out of everything you earn, even if it's just 1%. Set aside a little percentage and start a fund to get to the point where you've got money set aside to invest in a mentor or a program, whatever it is that you're really feeling is next for you if that opportunity comes. And it doesn't have to be a feeling of like, oh no, can I afford this? I really want to do it. But you don't want to invest from a place of lack or fear. And then just remember, on the topic of expectations, sometimes the results that you get from a mentoring relationship or a coach, they show up in unexpected ways. So, my business didn't always grow consistent with the investment that I made while I was in a mastermind program. But it always, if I looked back 16 or 18 months down the road, it always came back to me, and then some, my investment, but not always in the way that I expected, right? Sometimes it led to a relationship that led to a new business idea. Sometimes it led to a contact for someone that I really wanted to connect with, or a great opportunity for partnership. You just never know what the result is going to be. So I think, number one, if you go in with the expectation like 100% on me, I'm going to extract the value out of this. You go in without coming from a place of fear or FOMO. You're coming from a place of power, and you're taking 100% responsibility for this investment, and you're open to results and the return on your investment showing up in unexpected ways. That is a game changer. So, okay, when you have your expectations set, you have your money set aside where you can invest and not be from a place of FOMO or fear. The investment probably still will feel like a stretch, and that's a good thing. But how do you know if someone is the right mentor for you? And this is where I wish I would have maybe done a little bit more homework before hiring some of my first mentors. Now I know a little bit better what I need or what I'm looking for at certain points of my business journey. But I also, here's what I want to tell you, this is coming from that 100% responsibility place. There is no mentoring relationship that I've been in or I've paid for that I don't completely own, and there's not a single one, even if it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, there's not a single one that I would go back and say was a mistake, because what I learned was exactly what I was supposed to learn in that relationship. And sometimes it's just, oh, I didn't know I wanted someone who's going to give me more one-on-one strategy. Okay, cool. Well, I didn't think to ask that, so that's on me. So I think it's important, first and foremost, to know your goals. Like, what do you want this mentoring relationship to do for you? Are you looking to grow your business? Are you looking to launch something new? Are you looking more for strategy? Or are you looking for someone to be more of a soul coach, right? Are you looking for business breakthroughs or personal breakthroughs? Maybe you're looking for both. And so knowing that going in is really critical, because you don't want to go into a relationship where you really want to have some personal breakthroughs in order to facilitate a business breakthrough, and maybe you hire a mentor who's all business. That's going to be something that doesn't feel like maybe it's meeting the need that you initially entered that relationship for. So you want to know that about yourself ahead of time. So even just some journaling, or what's really in my way? What would it take for me to get to the next level? And doing some of that inner work first will help you to know what to look for, and even some of what questions to ask when you're meeting with someone and considering a mentoring relationship with them. And then know if are you looking for a group environment? Maybe you learn from a mentor and the others in a group, kind of like I was explaining a mastermind format is like. Then if that's the case, I actually love mastermind formats. I also am at a place right now in my business where I want that one-on-one strategy. So I went in search of a mastermind that also offered me one-on-one coaching with the kind of leader of the mastermind as part of it. So just know, some, offer that, some don't. The first mastermind I was a part of, I don't think the person leading it even knew what my revenue streams were. Now, again, that's not on him. That was on me. I didn't know that I wanted that until after I went through that experience. So I learned something from it. And now, at least at this phase in my business, I know exactly what I'm looking for. The other thing that can be really, really great to do is talk to some other people who've worked with that person. Get an honest opinion. Are there businesses that are similar to yours? And it doesn't have to be the exact same business, but do you have a service-based business, and have they helped service-based businesses grow? Maybe same question if you have a product-based business. So you really want to, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask the person, the mentor you're considering, what are their strengths? What are their favorite things to coach and strategize around? Some love the marketing side of things. Some love more the operations side. So again, knowing exactly what you need in order to scale is really critical in you finding the right fit. And if you're not sure, again, you can even just kind of share where you're at in your business with the person you're considering and ask them, hey, what would your take on this be? Because here's the thing that I know for sure. There is more than one way to grow a business. There's not just one way. So if you meet a mentor and they say, hey, here's what I would suggest, here's I think the way for you to really scale, and that doesn't really feel like it aligns with your vision for your business, then maybe that's not the right mentor. And there's nothing wrong with that. I had a girl that I know, this is like kind of a funny story, but such a good example of this. She was on Shark Tank. And Mark Cuban, brilliant entrepreneur, right? Mark Cuban offered her a deal on Shark Tank. And then after the show wrapped, I learned so much about what happens off camera. But after the show wrapped, they actually ended up not partnering together because the way that Mark Cuban saw she should grow her business, or his recommendation, just wasn't aligned with what she wanted for her business. So people even turn down Mark Cuban, right? So it's okay for you to evaluate different mentors and say, you know what, this one doesn't really feel like it aligns with how I want to grow my business. So maybe there's someone else who's better. And it's totally okay. You have to really trust your gut and trust your intuition, and then know what questions to ask when you're going in. So at the end of the day, whether right now you are evaluating whether or not you're ready for a mentor, or whether it's just something you have your sights set on for the future, and maybe you're starting that practice right now of setting money aside in order to be able to invest in a mentor down the road, remember that mentorship does not only mean you pay for someone to coach you. You can do a lot with free resources. We provide a ton of free resources within the Powerhouse Women community. I mean, obviously you listen to the podcast, you're here today. We also have our text mentorship. If you haven't already joined that, you can get a free what am I trying to say here? Business and mindset tips delivered to your phone every single week. And yes, they really come from me. And yes, I really text you back if you reply. And so this is just one way, because I believe in mentorship so much. I really want you to have access to someone who can encourage you, someone who can give you just little steps to be taking in order to ultimately get to the point where maybe you can invest in a mentor that's going to be the right fit for you down the road. But there's so much out there totally for free. Find what resonates with you, and just remember, you're not meant to do any of this alone. Not business, not life, and we're all going to go further, faster if we collaborate, we share resources, and we genuinely root each other on to win.